What's going on, guys, and welcome back to another video, and welcome to your daily news report and economic update for Thursday, June 30th. So here's what we're going to discuss in today's video. If you have any questions on any of this stuff, please ask your questions down in the comment section below. All I ask is if you can spend just 2 seconds, go ahead, hit that like button, and also consider hitting that subscribe button and also that notification bell so you never miss an update. But here's what we're going to talk about in today's video. First, we're going to talk about how President Biden has finally stated that he wants to change the filibuster. This is something that Democrats are very excited about because this is a little bit of a change from where he was just a few months ago. We also know that Senate Democrats also see President Biden's economic agenda coming closer to an agreement, and they are also ecstatic about this as well. And lastly, high prices in general are causing child hunger, and many are finding themselves facing more financial distress. So let's talk about these things in today's video. Let's get right down to it. Now, this morning, President Biden said that he would support changing the Senate's filibuster rules to help pass legislation on privacy rights and access to abortion. The main thing is abortion. President Biden called the Supreme Court's decision or actions destabilizing. That was his word, especially after they overturned Roe v. Wade. Now Democrats are actually calling out the administration not just for lacking the support and the power, but collecting millions and millions of dollars in donations. But the problem is they collected these donations to help protect women's rights and other issues. But the problem is everything that Democrats have been trying to do and said that they will do, they haven't done. And this is very upsetting to many voters. Now, and here's what you need to understand. Democrats have all the power. They hold the presidency, they hold the majority in the House, they hold the majority in the Senate. They have all the power, and yet they can't get anything done. Currently, this is the reason why many voters are upset with Democrats, because they keep saying, vote for us, we do this. Vote for us, we'll get this done for you. And nothing gets done. Now currently, Congress, can't do anything about the Supreme Court overturning Roe v. Wade. The Senate is split 50-50, and any bill would require 60 votes to get it through, get it over the filibuster. The problem is, and right now, and this is the Senate's only tool to bypass the 60-vote filibuster, is a budget reconciliation. The problem is Roe v. Wade wouldn't be a budgetary concern. So that's an issue. Now, not only would changes to the filibuster make it easier for Democrats to pass legislation that would ensure privacy and rights to an abortion, and this is what Democrats and really all are talking about right now, because that's the new story, that's the new headline, breaking news. But what this also does is it opens the door to bring back additional talks of the child tax credit payments, paid family medical leave, the $15 minimum wage. And some say Democrats would likely pass the $15 minimum wage, but there's going to be one person that might not support this, and that is Senator Joe Manchin, simply because a $15 federal minimum wage would actually contribute to higher inflation. So we'll see what happens there. But they could also get back to talking about climate spending, also lowering prescription drug prices, and so much more. There's a lot of stuff here, but as of right now, everybody is turning to what the Supreme Court did in overturning Roe v. Wade, and that's the main discussion. But some other interesting news has actually come out, and that is that Senate Democrats already have plans in place for some of these things, like climate spending. They want to increase taxes and tax revenue to pay for climate spending, lowering prescription drug prices, and things like that. For example, just this morning, we learned that within the next few days, before July 4th, we could potentially have a submitted, finalized agreement that would allow Medicare to negotiate with pharmaceutical companies. This is something that Democrats have been waiting for months. This is part of the negotiations that Senator Joe Manchin had with President Biden back in December. So what, 7 months ago? Yeah. So some are saying it's long overdue. One Democrat even said that this agreement is a major move and makes major progress. And according to another source, Democratic leadership wants to have a vote on this bill. They want to have this done by next month. That's their goal. Because if it's not done sometime in July, then Congress will go on recess for pretty much all of August. They will not come back until I think the first or second week of September, which means a lot of stuff is not going to get done. There'll be discussions, there'll be plans going back and forth, but as to will we see something actually get passed? Probably not, because, well, Congress will be away on recess. So right now, the thing slowing this bill down, though, and this is where there's a little bit of a concern, is the negotiations over the climate policy provisions and the tax changes in order to raise new revenue. These are the two things slowing down any bill right now, but Congress is seeing, or at least Democrats seem like they are more motivated now than ever before. So we could potentially see something very soon. Now, let's talk about President Biden's surprise announcement that he made today, because he said the United States and Americans will endure high gas prices for, and this is his words, as long as it takes to beat Vladimir Putin and his invasion into Ukraine. That was what his statement was. And the big concern over this statement is the American people are already suffering. Yet, President Biden says it will take as long as it takes in order to beat him in this invasion. Now, obviously, high gas prices are one of the main concerns that voters have right now, but there's other concerns as well. Inflation in general is the main concern. But obviously, food prices, those are a huge concern. Many small families are extremely concerned that rising prices across the board are only going to increase child hunger, increase their likelihood of defaulting on mortgage payments, being evicted from their apartments, even losing their cars. And this is a major concern as well, because right now, higher prices in general are causing a lot of financial distress. And here's one that I know a lot of people are not really talking about, and that is on cars. Here's what's happening. Right now, or let's say over the past year, 2 years, we have seen used car prices go up even higher. So people that, bought, let's say they bought a car for $20,000 in, let's say 2017. Well, if that car was $20,000 in 2017 new, chances are you could have sold that car for $22,000 to $23,000 in 2002. So you could have sold it for more than what you bought it for. Here's the problem. Car prices, used car prices, only went up. They just kept going up, 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 and up. And they are still kind of going up. They're somewhat plateauing. Here's the problem. When people buy a car, let's say it's a $30,000 car, they buy it for $40,000. Okay? Huge concern. Because what happens when the auto market starts to drop and starts to dip, which I think it is going to do very soon. Well, when it drops, here's the problem. You are now, in over your head. You're underwater in your car. Your car is valued at, let's say, $32,000. You owe $40,000 on it. Well, what if you can't make a payment? What if you can't make a payment? Here's the problem. You can, give it back to your bank and give it back to the lender, but you're still on the hook for the other $8,000. That because if it's only worth $32,000, you paid $40,000, you are still going to have to make payments on the $8,000. Well, what if you lose your job because we dip into a recession? What if you lose your job because the company you're working for is going to slow down? They're not making as much money. They're not as profitable. So they're going to, pretty much, make their labor force a little bit smaller. What do you do then? This is where there's a lot of financial distress, is because some of the purchases people have made over the past 2 years are not turning out to be the best decisions now. So here's my advice to you. First off, know how much money you make. You have to know this. I know exactly how much money I make every single day. I know how much I make every single week. I know how much I make every single month. Okay? And every single year. I know this. Also, know how much money you spend. You need to know those two things. Your income, your expenses. If you know that, then you will be able to determine how much savings you can actually have every single day or every week. But if you do not know those two figures, your income and your expenses, you will not know how much you can save. If you don't know how much you can save, you do not know how long it would take to build an emergency fund. And that's right, you need an emergency fund, especially right now with the issues that we're having across not just the United States, but across the world. You need to have an emergency fund. You need to have some type of backup because you never know when things are going to go sideways or completely upside down. So again, if you have any questions on anything that I talked about in today's video, please ask your questions down in the comment section below. Just want to thank you guys for watching. Have a wonderful rest of your day. Consider subscribing, and I'll see you guys on the next one.